You ever realize your entire neighborhood is being run like a bad reality show, except the prize is snow removal? Yeah, I didn't see that coming either. But that's how I ended up standing in my kitchen at 4 in the morning, half awake, listening to a snowplow barrel down the street 2 blocks away, while my own road sat buried under 18 inches of fresh powder. The sound's almost mocking, like, "Hey, Gregory, bet you wish you lived over there, huh?" I'm Gregory Winters, and this is my little corner of Boulder County, Colorado Pinewood Estates. Supposedly upscale, supposedly well-maintained. You know how the brochures go: quiet streets, mountain views, a place where you can breathe easy and forget your troubles. That's what I was looking for 3 years back after I sold my startup and figured I'd try the whole peaceful life thing. Maybe start consulting from home, walk to get coffee, meet nice neighbors. Nobody tells you the real monster is the Homeowners Association, or more specifically, the HOA president. Ours is named Patricia. Patricia Hendress. Ever meet someone who acts like their HOA badge should come with a crown? That's Patricia. Think of the worst type of control freak, but with a dash of high school principal energy. Last year, I started noticing something weird. Every time it snowed big or small, certain streets got plowed right away. Mine didn't. This year, though, it got impossible to ignore. Our HOA has this contract with Mountain Peak Snow Removal paid out of our HOA fees, $450 a month, by the way, which is not exactly pocket change. I figured at that price you'd at least get plowed out at the same time as your neighbors, right? That would be logical. Turns out logic is not on the menu here. So that morning I pull on my boots and go outside, shovel in hand, already annoyed. That Colorado cold, it doesn't mess around. The air just slices right through you, straight to the bone. My street, Aspen Grove Lane, looked like a snow globe. Nice if you weren't trying to get to work or, live a functioning adult life. Way off in the distance, Oak Ridge Drive was plowed down to bare pavement like a runway for Patricia's BMW. No accident. I started paying attention, 3 snowstorms in, always the same. Oak Ridge, Maple Heights, Birch Tree Way cleared right away. Then the streets where the other board members live. The rest of us, if we're lucky, maybe get a plow 24, 36 hours later after we've paid someone else or just given up. I'm out there huffing and puffing, shovel scraping the driveway, when I see Frank, my neighbor, 73 years old, out there swinging a shovel bigger than his back. Another fine morning in paradise, he calls over with this grin that's more grimace than smile. He's been here since the place was built. Frank's the kind of guy who still believes if you pay for something, you should actually get it. We get to talking, chipping away at the snow in front of his garage. I ask, "How long's Patricia been pulling this?" He laughs, tells me it started a couple years ago. Used to be fair. Everybody got a turn, nobody special. Then Patricia gets elected president, decides some streets, guess which, are priority for emergency access. Every meeting, she's got a new excuse: traffic flow, route efficiency, emergency response. All sounds reasonable until you realize it's the same streets every time. Frank's tried to complain. Emails, phone calls, even showing up at the HOA meetings. But Patricia's got an answer for everything. The worst part? On paper. It all sounds like it makes sense unless you actually live on one of the streets that gets left behind. After I help Frank out, I go back in, make coffee, and decide to dig a little deeper. I pull up the HOA documents on the community portal. The section on snow removal is honestly a masterpiece of saying nothing, timely and efficient manner. That's it. No mention of priority, no list, nothing about rotating who gets plowed first. I keep digging, meeting minutes, expense reports. 18 months ago, Patricia proposed a strategic snow removal plan for community safety and efficiency. Passed by 1 vote, hers and her board buddies. And get this, no street names mentioned in the official notes, just to be determined in consultation with Mountain Peak. Classic. Then I start looking at the finances. Our contract's a fixed fee, $180,000 a year, paid out of our HOA fees. But there are extra payments labeled emergency snow removal, totaling $45,000 over 2 years. Emergency for who? The streets that are always plowed first, that's who. Now I'm annoyed, but also kind of curious. I call Derek, a friend of mine who's a contract lawyer. He listens to my story, then sighs. Look, it's probably not technically illegal if the board voted and the rules allow for that kind of discretion. But it might be a breach of fiduciary duty if she's personally benefiting and everyone else is getting screwed. The emergency payments. That's the red flag. Derek lays out my options. Run for the board rally, the neighborhood call a special election file, a lawsuit, expensive and slow, or get creative. Creative, I like the sound of that. So I get the number for Mountain Peak and start making calls. Takes some doing, but I finally get Tom Reeves, the owner, on the phone. I ask about the contract. Turns out the priority system, not part of the original deal. That came from Patricia. She told them which streets to hit first. And those emergency payments? Yeah, those are just for her street and the ones near her. When she calls, they send out an extra plow and bill the HOA again, outside the contract. Here's where things click. I pitched Tom on a new idea. What if I took over managing the contract? Same pay. Maybe better, but fair treatment for all streets. No more special requests, no more last-minute calls from Patricia. He's interested. Honestly, he's tired of dealing with her. I tell him, if I make this happen, you in? He laughs. If you pull it off, I'm in. Now I need buy-in from my neighbors. I spend the next 3 days knocking doors, Aspen Grove, Pine Needle, Spruce Valley, anyone willing to talk. The response is, let's just say passionate. People are pissed. Some missed work because they couldn't get out. One woman, Jennifer, lives a few doors down. She's a nurse, single mom. She tells me she got written up at work because she couldn't get to her shift during the last storm. You could see how tired she was just talking about it. By the end of those 3 days, I've got 47 households on my petition, way more than needed to call a special meeting. I send the petition to Patricia and the board. She calls me an hour later, voice all tight and polite. Mr. Winters, this is highly irregular. I point out actually it's exactly by the book. We have the signatures. She grits her teeth and schedules the meeting. I spend the next 2 weeks gathering evidence. Maps, photos, homeowner statements. I meet with Tom Reeves to firm up a backup plan. I get advice from Derek on the legal side. Even meet with 2 board members who secretly hate Patricia's system. One of them, Harold, is a retired engineer, smart, steady. He tells me the priority plowing was supposed to be temporary just for emergencies. Patricia made it permanent. Comes the night of the meeting, the clubhouse is packed way more than the usual handful of bored retirees. Patricia arrives flanked by her loyalists, Margaret and Susan, all business, all icy. She gives me the floor. I pull up my slides. First a map, which streets get plowed and how fast. It's not even subtle. Green for under 4 hours, Patricia's side. Red for 36 hours or more, mine and everyone else's. She interrupts. Those are main access routes. I show a map from emergency services that proves her theory doesn't hold water. I lay out the finances, $180,000 a year, plus $45,000 extra for emergencies that only help her side. Tom Reeves confirms in writing, Patricia calls for special plows, nobody else. Now the room's angry. People start yelling questions. Harold at the board table calls her out. I don't remember voting to approve all those extra payments. Patricia tries to dodge, says she had the right to authorize small amounts. But $45,000, that's not pocket change. Then I pitch my solution. We terminate the current contract, accept new bids with clear equal standards. I offer to manage it myself through a company, Winters Property Services, at a lower cost. With full transparency, no special deals. My profit. A flat 5% fee built into the savings. She calls it corrupt, which you have to admit is a little rich coming from her. The board deadlocks. But then Deanne, another board member, pipes up. Tie votes mean it goes to the full membership. And I've got more than enough signatures for that. The meeting ends in chaos, but now the choice is in the homeowner's hands. Over the next month, I campaign like crazy. I make a website, hold coffee meetings, go door to door. Patricia and her allies send out scary letters, spread rumors. Apparently I'm planning to embezzle the HOA, please. But too many people have been left out in the cold, literally. The vote happens on a Saturday. Turnout is huge. When we count the ballots, it's a landslide, 119 to 36. Patricia loses. She resigns on the spot, face stone cold, the room silent, except for slow-building applause. A few days later, the board officially accepts my proposal. Contracts are signed. The new system is clear. Every street plowed within 12 hours, no street skipped, everything logged in public. Mountain Peak gets a better, saner job. No more midnight calls from Patricia. That winter, for the first time since I moved in, every street gets cleared on schedule. Jennifer makes it to work. Frank finally gets to stay inside and drink his coffee instead of shoveling out. Homeowner satisfaction goes through the roof. Then comes the real twist. The board runs an audit of Patricia's emergency payments. Turns out not only was she double dipping for her street, some of the payments were for services that never even happened. Tom Reeves finally admits Patricia approached him with a scheme he'd bill for fake plows, split the cash with her. He'd started recording their calls when he felt guilty. The board brings in the sheriff. Patricia gets arrested, white-collar crime embezzlement. She tries to argue it's a misunderstanding, but the evidence is ironclad. Tom gets off with probation for cooperating. Patricia, she pleads out. Felony record restitution community service. That's how the HOA queen ended up spending a year on probation and picking up trash for the county. Life rolls on. My snow management business grows. I get contracts with other HOAs, but I keep things simple. Equal service transparency, no games. Pinewood Estates feels like a real community for the first time since I moved in. You know what sticks with me most? It's not that I started a business or beat Patricia. It's that for once a bunch of regular people decided not to accept the raw deal. We organized, we voted, we changed things. Took a little courage, a little stubbornness, and okay, more spreadsheets than I'd like to admit. One night, couple years after all this, I see Patricia at a restaurant. She looks older. We make eye contact. She looks away. There's no gloating, no need. Karma's already made the rounds. So here's my question for you. Yeah, you listening right now. When is it worth standing up to the little tyrants? Where's the line between minding your business and demanding fairness for everyone? Is it ever okay to let the system slide if you're not the one losing out? I'd love to hear what you think. Have you ever fought your own HOA or been burned by someone in power who forgot who they were supposed to serve? Drop your stories. Let's see how people handle injustice in their own backyards. Because sometimes the only way to get your street plowed is to make a little noise. And sometimes that noise is exactly what wakes a community up.